There is no way this actually happens, as there has been some rumblings that this player could be available and the Lakers could be in a prime position to make a move on this defensive monster who can immediately change the tone of the Lakers, especially on the defensive end. However, he is going to cost a steep price to the Lakers. What's good? I'm Okechi Apakama, and this is Lakers Digest coming at you with another video. And before we get into everything we have for today's video, I just want to remind you guys to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already to get those Laker updates, guys, because we are pushing towards 20,000 subscribers, and we just recently passed 19,000 subscribers, guys. So I want to thank each and every one of you guys who support the channel. And if you want to keep coming to that Laker content here at Lakers Digest, you want to make sure you don't miss anything and you're subscribed to the channel here. So with that out of the way, let's hop straight into the topics we have for you today. Are the Lakers in on Derrick White? So there has been some rumblings from the one and only Shams Charania that a guy like Derrick White could be available, and it has to do with the Boston Celtics, who recently just had a devastating injury to Jason Tatum, and they could be really evaluating things, as they're probably not going to be in championship contention next season and possibly even the season after that, because it does take a while to come back from an injury like that. But this is what Shams Charania said about the possibility of the Celtics trading a guy like Derrick White. So the Celtics are willing to listen to offers to Jaylen Brown and Derrick White per Shams Charania. Are teams making big offers and calling about Jaylen Brown and Derrick White? 100%. The Celtics prefer not to trade them, for my understanding. But listen, if they get a big offer, they will have to look at everything. And I think they're going to get, offers of three guys that they're focused on. They're going to get potential offers on Derrick White and Jaylen Brown. And I think between now and the draft free agency, they're going to evaluate what makes sense from a value perspective. So that is a very good nugget of information there from Shams Charania, as the Celtics aren't possibly looking to trade a guy like Derrick White. But however, if they find offers out there that they like, they're probably going to be willing to listen, especially with the injury to Jason Tatum, and just how it changes the fortune of their team and how expensive that Boston Celtics team is going to be. So they have to cut salary some way, somehow, and cutting a guy like Derrick White, who just recently turned 30, especially when his value probably is at his highest, is probably what the Boston Celtics would want to do. Now, input a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, who are looking for a defensive guard to put next to Luka Doncic. Now, this is the prime guy you want to put next to Luka. Derrick White can do a myriad of things, whether it's ball handling, whether it's defending at a very high level, whether it's shooting threes at a very high rate, catch and shoot threes. So that is the variety that you want from a guy playing off of Luka Doncic. And he is good enough to take over some ball handling responsibilities and score in bunches, because he's been a guy in big moments who can score 25, 30 points in a game for you and change the tone and tenor of the game from offensive perspective, as he usually does every game from the defensive standpoint. So there is a lot of things to like from a guy like Derrick White. Just taking a look at his stats just on the season, he was 16.4 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, 4.8 assists per game, 1.1 blocks per game. That is from the two guard position, so he's one of the best shot blocking guards in the league. Shot 44% from the field, 38% from three. He shot 43% from the corners, so he is an absolutely fire corner three-point shooter. It's go along with a very healthy 38 three-point percentage, and this is off of pretty high volume, as the Celtics team is known for taking a lot of three-pointers, and Derrick White is one of those guys who is going to put up those three-point shots and averaging about 16 points a game. You can see that is a pretty solid efficiency that he has from three and from the corners as well. So this is a very high level role player, probably one of the best role players out there. And if he becomes available for the Lakers should, I think, entertain that opportunity to acquire a guy like him, because I think he can add a lot of things to this Lakers squad that they don't already have on the roster. So that gets me into my next topic here, as what can White bring on the Lakers? Now, I talked about it a little bit some here, talking about with the ball handling, the defending, the catch and shoot threes, just all those different aspects of the game. But just in totality, what Derrick White brings is just a very solid overall player, just a two-way player. The Lakers need more guys like that on the roster. They have some guys on their roster who can do certain things. Guys like Dorian Finney-Smith, who can be a two-way guy at some points. We've seen guys like Rui Hachimura take a step forward and be able to do that. We still know like LeBron can do stuff like that as well, but there isn't enough guys on the roster who are more like two-way guys. They're either one side of the ball where it's like Jared Vanderbilt, who is more of a defensive-minded guy, but they're other guys like Dalton Knecht, who are more of an offensive minded player at this point of his career. So guys like that are all littered all over the Lakers roster. So finding a two-way player like Derrick White would do numbers for this team. And that has already got some Laker faithful talking, as there has been proposed deals for the Lakers to land a guy like Derrick White on this roster here. And some people were just putting together some preliminary stuff, and this is what we saw out there, just what the Lakers would be trading to get Derrick White. And so far, just to make the money match, you have Austin Reaves and Maxi Kleber for Derrick White services. Now, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, who value a guy like Austin Reaves at a very high clip, this is the biggest barometer, and I think a turning point somewhat in this Luka Doncic era if you go for a deal like that. Now, I would assume that deal would probably involve a draft pick or two, because the Celtics are probably going to be looking for that to retain or to get back for trading a guy like Derrick White. But for the Los Angeles Lakers, that can really change up your team, like I said, because Austin Reaves has been so much a part of this team since he has came here as an undrafted free agent, and he has grown so much as a player. Now, if you're going to do this trade, you're kind of going under the assumption that Austin Reaves is going to be just probably he is either at the level or around the level of the player that he's going to become, and you don't think he's going to get better. And that's why you're going to go for a more ready now player with Derrick White, which you already know what you're going to get with a guy like Derrick White. He defends, he can ball handle for you, he can catch and shoot threes at a very high clip. So there is a lot of known quantities with a guy like Derrick White. Austin Reaves, on the other hand, is still growing as a player, and while he could get to a level where the Lakers, like an all-star level, which is I think what the Lakers are hoping for, this is more of a trade to get that surefire guy. And that is kind of an open question for the Los Angeles Lakers, because they have been unwilling to trade a guy like Austin Reaves for another player unless it was for an all-star level player. And Derrick White, as good as he is not an all-star caliber player, but he is still a guy that can do a lot for you, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And this kind of gets a lot of people thinking just like what this does. So this is from Sam Quinn, who writes for CBS, and he was talking about, I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and it's definitely tempting as one of the few guys who can be meaningful to improve the backcourt defense without costing ball handling. That was made by Reaves, Luka, LeBron trio, so special. But you're definitely getting older, but you are getting better. So Derrick White, like I said, is a more formed player at this point of his career. You kind of know what he is, and you do get better in the short term, I believe, because he is a solid guy, but then he also is a role player. So you wonder how many years does he have at that level? So he is 30 years old currently right now. So you could get maybe a good next 4 or 5 years of Derrick White, and he can be a very solid role player for you and be a contributor to possibly championship winning teams. But you probably lose out on the possibility of growing a guy like Austin Reaves, who still has room to grow, especially as he is going into, I believe, his 5th NBA season would be next year. So he still has a lot of room for improvement and can still get better as a player. But if the Lakers are more of that win now moment, which I don't know, I'm not so sure if they're in that mode, just because they made that trade for Luka Doncic. Because when you move over from Anthony Davis to Luka Doncic, you go from more of a win now to more like win while you should, as the Lakers are probably evaluating just like what the moves that they can make this season and maybe what's probably better for them next season. So there is a lot of things for Rob Pelinka and the Lakers brass to really go over and figure out what they're trying to be next season. Because if you make this deal, this changes a lot of things and changes direction pretty much, as this pretty much set in stones, as puts you in a Luka Doncic team, and everything that you're doing is to build around Luka Doncic. Some people believe that is the right way to do it. Some people might think it's the other way. So maybe you got to keep Austin Reaves and try to find another way to find that high level point of attack defender without giving up a guy like Austin Reaves. But that's still, that deal that was proposed still might be enough to get a guy like Derrick White. Like, it's probably going to involve some first round picks of that nature, or maybe even a second round pick or a swap or something like that. So there is still a lot to be discussed here, but that's all going to come down to if the Celtics are willing to trade a guy like Derrick White, because they're going to have to get off of the money they have on the books, especially because next season they're probably not going to be contending for a championship, especially with their main superstar down. But that's probably going to be it for this video, guys. Make sure you guys comment down below of what you think the Lakers should do. So should they go after a guy like Derrick White, who I obviously think is a better player at this moment in time, but you are losing out on with the possibility of what Austin Reaves can become down the line. But that can be good for some people, because you can get that ready now, win now player that you have on your roster right now, and you have him under control for a couple of seasons. So the Lakers do that for Derrick White, or keep Austin Reaves, or even trade Austin Reaves for a better player than Derrick White. Let us know in the comments down below. And just one more thing for us, guys, there is still 69 or 67% of you guys who have recently watched our videos who are not yet subscribed to the channel just yet. And if you guys want more of that Laker news, Laker updates, trade rumors, game recaps, just every and all things LA Lakers, you guys want to come right here to Lakers Digest so you don't miss any of that action. All right, I've been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.